Hello, everyone. Hello, friends. Thank you for your time. And today, to our short talk, we invited Gema Igual. She is mayoress of city Santander. It's big pleasure for me to invite Miss Mayoress. And briefly, I should describe what is the city Santander. Yeah, Santander. This is Spanish city, and this is the capital of the autonomous community and historical region of Cantabria, Spain. Yeah, population more than 180,000 people, area 35 square kilometers. This is the port city, and Santander is the one of the leader of implementation of smart city solutions, and that's why we ask Miss Gema to have a meeting with us. And first of all, Gema, what are the main approaches, in your opinion, that help Santander to occupy a leading position in smart sphere in new normal? How did coronavirus influence?
Bueno, pues muy buenos días en primer lugar.
Good afternoon, and first of all, I'd like to thank you. I need to ask for excuses for not speaking English. That's why we need this simultaneous translation. Thank you very much for choosing our city as the city of reference. This is quite a small city. As you mentioned, you visited Spain 5 times. Santander is in the north of Spain with fantastic Sea Cantabrico, but this is the final point of destination and communications. Then we need to look for strengths and weaknesses in our development. Entonces, in 2010, we did analysis de nuestras strengths and weaknesses in order to definir the things that we need to do. And for instance, we had a number of different projects, and we have the Bank of Santander, which invested 80 million euros in the cultural development of the city, and also investments in the technological area. Our purpose, most importantly, is to offer services to our citizens. But in order to do that, we need to know what they need. In this case, we would be really able to do it proportionally, exactly in the manner that they need it. And that's why we rely on technologies, and we tried to monitor the services that we offer to the citizens, and in this basis we are trying to develop them in due scale. We united with other Spanish cities in order to create a network of smart cities. Santander took part in a number of European projects and had a lot of successes. we also could learn on our mistakes so that other cities never repeat them. So we actually started with implementation of technologies in public spaces. It was quite a difficult task because we had to evaluate in mathematical terms how much technology we need. So we had to coordinate with the Spanish government that helped us to evaluate this technology. And this technology was implemented in a vertical manner. Like waste management, we implemented a new system where the containers have respective marking that allows for defining what kind of waste is inside, what should be the temperature regime, etc. So we managed to make the services independent. Also, we deal with number of projects of mobility. We have quite significant institutions, scientific and research, and we are trying to attract talents, especially young talents, to participate in these projects. Talking about pandemics, en aquel año, in that year, 2010, we tried to implement this technology, and we tried to make sure that no pandemic would ever surprise anybody, but this time we did have to introduce some new technologies, especially to arrange for working places from home, and we implemented the technological platform so-called Santander from your home, and this is our way which allowed us to really provide assistance to those who are alone, who especially needed such assistance during the pandemics. And also, thus, we implemented a network of volunteers. We try to make as much as possible of issuance of any documents through the internet so that the inhabitants of Santander do not suffer much from this pandemics. Now we have a lot of interactive services, including opportunity to address the courts, to arrange for necessary juridical documents. We also arranged for some technologies for children, for instance, to help them celebrate their birthdays in distance remote mode. We unfortunately, it didn't work always well. Sometimes there were problems with delivery of food to the people who are lonely, but now we developed this network of volunteers who help with this. Also, we managed to arrange for subventions for individuals with disabilities or those who could not take care of their children, and these services all were provided in the remote mode because we have a special depository of the data, and all these data are well interconnected, and are available for those who need them. And we know that there were problems with tourism because of pandemics. Many travel companies had problems. We also tried to help them to develop their businesses, at least in the manner they could help the citizens, like, for instance, serve the families with the foods. They could help restaurants to deliver their foodstuff to the citizens, and this was our way to help both businesses and citizens. Of course, we are talking about a small city which is very easy to manage. If we talk about any larger city, certainly implementation of these approaches would have been much more difficult. But this was our way to try to implement these new technologies, and actually I think we managed to do a lot because we engaged all politicians and all the citizens. We are all moving in the same direction, which is certainly very helpful.
Thank you. What can you say about integral management of Santander and modernization of public administration services and infrastructure? Because I have information from internet that you have serious success in this area.
Bueno, pues efectivamente
Well, officially, the first thing that we did, we actually collected all the data of all the citizens. It was very difficult to do it at once, but then we started revising all public services, and this integral management is the thing in which we are working now, this vertical management. For example, if we have an enterprise which deals with waste, for instance, they have special markings now. Containers are provided with specific labels which can be read by respective readers. Then we optimized this system, and we thought about also water supplies, improvement of water supplies. We collected data on water consumption, first of all, and now we have the system that would allow to identify any leak, any breach in the system of water supplies. And now, instead of repairing the whole pipeline, we identify very clearly where the leak is so that we can concentrate on this area and to repair it very quickly. Also, we have sensors on the bus stops, and we now do not need to wait for the next bus because you know in advance, even remotely, when the specific bus arrives to the specific bus stop. So we have about 60 services of this type in the city. So that's thanks to this city brain, which concentrates all the data, and we develop it further on. We have the special control panel, and this is a very important part of the management of the sociedad, and from this panel we can interrelate the data and we can optimize the management of the city. Like, for instance, if somewhere there is a leak of water in the middle of the night, the reaction is automatic. Nobody needs to wake up. Only those who are supposed to do the repairs and without paralyzing the water supply to the neighborhood. We also have very sophisticated system of traffic lights, and especially if there are repairs somewhere, say of a pipeline, then the street lights would not allow any traffic on the street until the repairs are finished. And we are trying also to predict, to foresee what may happen then if I know that, let's say, many people go to Magdalena Palace, we then need to properly concentrate the police force. We move them in the proper direction so that they do not appear when it's too late. They appear in advance in order to ensure public order in the specific area. So this is our way to forecast the events and respond to the events in advance.
Oh, serious projects. Tell me, please, sustainability, mobility, or smart tourism. What would be your first goal?
Bueno, pues esta es una pregunta muy difícil.
This is a very difficult question because I think that all the mayors need to think about everything. So these three words that you said are all very important. We are a tourist city. The city of Santander is visited. We have 180,000 inhabitants, but a lot of people visit the city, especially in summer. We have 3 universities in our cities. We have a large hospital and a lot of administrative buildings. We manage this city as capital of the province. Every day, many people come to the city because of administrative needs, and plus in summer we have a lot of tourists who add a lot to our population. So of course, we are talking about sustainable city, and of course, we need to take care about mobility of all these individuals. So I cannot really ignore any of the 3 words that you mentioned. So we are trying to act in advance, proactively. As I said, tourism is very important for all the businesses in our city. That's why we tried to make it as sustainable as possible. Say last year in March we had this pandemic and we didn't know what would happen with all our travels and trips. And we thought about ensuring the sustainability. We invested $500,000 into support to travel agencies. We actually collected a lot of data. Without technology, it wouldn't have been possible. But we managed to map all the beaches on the seaside. We could make calculations how much of what kind of area, how many square meters in each of these beaches will be free, so that the citizens or the people, the tourists, can come safely. So this is our way to try to develop our summer opportunities. So we are monitoring very carefully the tourist sector, including the beaches. So we have this control panel, but we are city number 2 in Spain, which achieved this smart tourism. And we are really proud of what we could do to monitor, to inform the public, so that we could really go in advance of the rest of Spain in support of this tourism business. We have our goals of sustainable development till the year 2030. We know that by that time 80% of the population will live in the cities, in the urban areas. So we need to really expect that. So we need to feel responsible for the environment where they live, and the safety, the cleanness of the cities, and we need also to consider potential savings in energy, respectively in investments, which in turn gives additional funds to fight contamination with the waste. We really need to keep in mind that our province is open to the sea, and the sea, we should prevent any potential contamination of the sea with the waste. We have also 14 special routes where the citizens can walk, because we have a lot of hills in the city, and we need to make all these paths available for all kind of public. We understand that in pandemics we need to make sure that they will maintain the proper distance. So this was our way to find the solution. And also, we certainly need to think about the car owners. If we make incentives for using special trams, we can offer more comfortable routes than driving your own cars to get to the main employment centers, like administrative buildings, hospitals, etc. So we are trying to create this. If we hadn't done that, probably our traffic would have been already absolutely crazy. And so that's why we are trying to really promote municipal buses. They are the cheapest in Spain. The children have a lot of discounts. Also, as I said, we organized very well the bus stops. We have 3 lines that actually can cover the whole city. As I said, we are a small city, so but we have 150 bus stops where anyone can actually get to right to his or her home. Then we certainly are thinking about parkings for the car, for those who actually cannot do that their job without a car. So again, we actually think it's crazy when an individual drives his own car to work for 10 minutes, then leaves the car somewhere in the square, works for the whole day, and then 10 minutes to get back to home. So we are trying to create parking lots in order to prevent this situation, so that the citizens can use the public transportation to get to their jobs, unless they go from somewhere far away, then they can leave their cars in this parking lots, because this concentrations of cars is really something stupid. You know, if you drive for 10 minutes to spend 8 hours in your working place, that's nonsense. So we are trying to persuade the citizens that they should use public transportation for this purpose, and we're trying to do our best in order to make it convenient.
Oh, great. I see that you have integrated vision of city development and sustainability. It's very serious. You know, I would like to ask you, how do you invite citizens in city management for build innovative community, for support startups, etc.?
Bueno, pues en esta ciudad.
Well, in this city, we think it's extremely important to generate proper life quality for all the citizens in the fundamental areas. This is employment and housing. In housing, we have municipal society of housing. It was established in 2007, and it offered since then 1,100 houses for our inhabitants because so as this is the social housing and we offer them to the people who need them more. Of course, they sell housing too, but our government, local government, might help with buying an apartment. We all make very interesting offers. Plus, the housing that we offer is energy efficient. And if you lease an apartment, you pay 100 euros less for every child that you have in your family. And we have a number of discounts like that. As far as employment is concerned and technologies, we think that most important is the work with the data. We do not sell data, we offer them for free, and this is very important because there are some enterprises that developed applications and tools are the basis of our data. So we now participated in more than 30 European projects for probably worth of €500 million. These European projects have money for local enterprises to participate. So local businesses in Santander pueden participar en estos proyectos europeos, which is a great opportunity for them to create new jobs. So, and we certainly help entrepreneurs. We have projects of co-working funded by Bank of Santander, by the business school. And over there are many young people who work, and they turn into actual centers of entrepreneurship. We have this module-based approach, thus helping them to be more successful with these enterprises. And in this co-working, they also learn how to sell their ideas. They can exchange these ideas, and some people have great ideas but do not have sufficient funds to implement them. So we can help sometimes with the funds. We also offer 3,000 euros to everyone who wants to start his own business. And during the first year, we have opportunities where citizens can lease an office at extremely low price, so they can start this business, and that's available for a year. So this is the way they actually we work together with entrepreneurs, and we created a network of entrepreneurship where they can cooperate, where they can help each other with offices. I mean, that's a great system which really creates incentives in both entrepreneurship and in the housing, and thus we form new professions, new specialists. There are many professions that are obsolete and are not needed anymore, but we indeed create new professions, like for instance, instead of a waiter, an individual becomes a residential waiter, delivering food, for instance, using the new technologies. And that's how we look at it.
Okay, thank you. I know that European Union has fund 95 billion euros for financing smart city projects in the European Union. And which sources of financing do you have in your city? City budget, private sector, or maybe different funds?
Bueno, pues la Unión Europea.
Well, the European Union indeed offer European funds, and we participate in many projects. Like, for instance, now we have a project, so-called 360 degrees citizen, where the funding is 60% by European Union, 40% by our city. But indeed, Europe is now concentrating on changing the models of city management all around Europe. And of course, in accordance with these goals of sustainable development, implementation of new technologies in order to improve the services through energy saving, offering alternative sources of energy. And of course, this is very important for our economies. Now, with all these difficulties, economic difficulties for citizens, for entrepreneurs, for administrations, we are waiting now for an opportunity to materialize these promised assistance, because there was a promise, but it was not disbursed yet. And now we are debating, we are discussing any potential bridges of how this money can be really made useful for each specific citizen. For this purpose, we need to report to the European Union about our intentions, how we want to use these funds. And we, for instance, we are now working on some potential medical projects like fighting cancer, fighting contamination of the sea waters. But till now, it's on the level of philosophy. We will first need to examine all the standards and all the requirements before we decide which specific options of these available funds from the European Union we can use. But so far they announced this potential assistance, €500 million, but they never shared any data to make it possible to really assess where these funds can be really used to with the best return. So this is what we are working on now.
Okay, thank you. And the last question. First of all, I know that one of recipe of success implementation of smart city, first of all, smart citizen and smart mayor. Yeah, and what can you recommend to Ukrainian cities? Because Ukrainian cities just on begin on this way. From your experience, from your point of view, what can you recommend?
Bueno, pues lo primero, estoy convencida.
Well, first of all, I'm sure that you can have exit only with a synergy when you work together with other cities and learn from the mistakes of each other, not at your own. Of course, there were mistakes. For instance, I told you about the sensors that we put on containers, but then all of a sudden we found out that their batteries are exhausted, and we had to think what would be the right way to replace all these batteries to feed them with electricity. So that's the way you go through. You need to really also assess how many people you want to cover with a specific project, innovation project. It's very important to consider how you reject projects, because when you start something, there are many ideas, but you need to also screen them properly. But first of all, you need to create this feel of the need in your citizens. The citizens need to realize they need to move forward. If they want to have a better life, they need to participate in that. They need to make their own contribution. So this is about political changes, and we, the managers, need to know what benefits we can offer. Like for instance, I could replace some lighting in the city. The people were not happy because we spent 23,000 euros, for instance, with these new bulbs. But then we managed to explain that this is safer because that lighting would not generate sufficient light in the areas where it is required. And also another point that we managed to really command and control remotely a number of projects, and it's open to the citizens. The public can see what we do in each of these projects, how we really manage, and how we tie them up to these goals of sustainable development. And the citizens know our plans for the year 23, 25, and that helps them. I mean, people need to see what result we're waiting for in 10 minutes, so in 10 years. So it's about information. It's about information technologies. We know that the people tend to sit at their computers all days through, all their life, and we need to take advantage of that. So this is a good way to persuade the citizens in advantages of your policy. So we are trying to make the citizens part of our goals, participants of our efforts, and as citizens feels that he or she is part of a bank, for instance, like they can just sit down anywhere with their computers, load an application and say transfer money to his grandma or grandpa, or and this is the way when the people start seeing the advantages that you are offering them through these new policies. It's very important to make sure that they are not overloaded with the information, because when there is too much information, the people get confused. So you need to send them only that information that you know for sure will be interesting and important for them.
Oh, thank you, Gema. Thank you very much. It was success story of Santander Smart City. And our guest was Mayoress, Smart Mayoress, Gema Igual. Thank you very much, Gema, and Thank you for your time.
Muchísimas gracias y lo primero es que les espero.
Thank you. The most important part is that I'm waiting for you personally and all of you in our city of Santander so that you can really walk through the city and talk to the people in addition to seeing our monuments. And plus, I'm very thankful to you for presenting your interest towards our city, and we are at your disposition. If you need any advice, any recommendation, please always contact me. I'll be happy to share with you whatever you need. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you and bye.